Before I begin, I wanted to thank SMG Studio for sending us a review copy of this game. The Nintendo Switch has a lot of ports from a variety of different consoles, and that is not a bad thing. But one stigma a lot of gamers have is when a game comes from mobile phones to dedicated games consoles. Mobile games are often viewed as too simple or exist to steal money from consumers, and so should not be appearing on the Switch. But in my opinion, that is a bit too generalising. A game's original platform, or the simplicity of its design, does not mean it is not fun, and today's game, Super One More Jump, might just prove that. Or maybe it won't. I guess we'll just have to find out. Super One More Jump is an arcade-style auto-runner. Players control a cube with a face as it automatically runs straight ahead. The player's control is the ability to jump, either to clear a gap, avoid an obstacle, or change platforms, and this is all the players will need to do. It is very simple and can be played with just one button, an obvious holdover from when it was a mobile game. Nearly any button on the Switch can be used to jump, even the touchscreen, so players can find a way that is comfortable for them. A misconception of simple games are that they are easy, but that's definitely not the case here. The lack of having to learn new moves is compensated by the need to learn all the new mechanics the game's levels throw at you. These range from changes in gravity, auto-jumping panels, moving platforms, gates, and more. The game explains each mechanic in a natural way before combining ideas and naturally ramping up the difficulty. There is some clever level design in play that keeps the game engaging and makes you want to keep going even after you die over and over again. The game has 8 worlds with 96 levels in total, and each level has 4 different modes. A classic traditional mode, one where the stage is mirrored and upside down, another where the level is slightly darker, and an absolute cruel version where the level rotates as you play. This is not for everyone, but thankfully it is optional. There is also a practice mode which slows down the pace and removes all the collectibles. It really does help. As the footage shows, this was a level I was really struggling on, in normal mode anyway, and then aced my first try on practice. Speaking of collectibles, there are over 200 little diamonds players have to collect, 3 in each level, and these unlock extra bonuses like an endless mode and the vault. The vault just seems to be more levels, presumably with some significance to the series, while endless mode measures how far you can go in a series of procedurally generated challenges. There's also a racing mode where players have to try and make as many laps of a course as possible, and also a multiplayer mode. There is a lot of content here, and it's all pretty fun to play. One More Jump is a perfect example of a game that takes one core idea and just runs with it. I wouldn't call the idea unique, I have definitely played similar games before, but that does not stop a game from being fun, and certainly this one is. The original One More Jump had a very simplistic style. Most objects only had one colour and everything was a very simple shape. Super One More Jump keeps the art style of its predecessor but with a 16-bit title, and more detail, really justifying the Super in its name. However, you may have noticed from the footage here that the art style has changed numerous times, from the standard look to a colourful Japanesey pop look to a more metal looking design. You might have assumed these were the different worlds, but you would be wrong. Instead, players can customise the art style whenever they want. The collectible diamonds in the game aren't just for score and advancing, but can also be spent to buy new aesthetic changes from a variety of pixel artists. Players can change the style in between levels or in the main menu, and there are a lot of variation, including the original 8-bit style. Players can even change how the character looks, allowing for full customization options. Personally, I put everything on random, so that the visual design changed every time and kept up the variety, but if others like to stick with one style, then the option is there. The quality of each style is top notch, although some colour decisions can cause confusion, with what can be touched and what can't. The music is upbeat and techno, and the main track felt like it had slight variations depending on the theme. There are not many tracks here, but I think they all do a great job at getting players pumped and pushing them to continue. All in all, the customization of the presentation was a really nice surprise, and it stopped the game from potentially getting boring in this department. Each theme is varied, and while not all of them are great, they are at least all different, and I enjoyed that. Super One More Jump looks like a basic title, and one of many indie games that can be found on the Switch, but for those looking for some arcade-style fun, this title really does deliver. presentation, both visually and audibly, delivers to create an exciting atmosphere that pushes the player to succeed. The customization options are fantastic, especially with how they can be implemented into the game seamlessly. The gameplay itself is very simple, but the levels players face are constantly evolving, improving, and getting more challenging. Super One More Jump was the perfect game to play during commutes, and has enough content to easily justify its $7 price tag. Just remember while playing that even when you die and die and die again, you should always push forward, because when you succeed, it will feel all the more sweeter. Okay, and that does it for the review of Super One More Jump. I want to thank SMG Studio again for sending us a review copy of this game. I hope it does them well. As for everyone else watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you could please like and subscribe if you haven't already, that would really help the channel out. And if you want to be even more supporting, we have a Patreon, which you can find by going to our website, sourcegaming.info. The link is in the description below. With that, I hope you enjoyed, and we hope you always return to the source.